Hey, have a think about everything you've ever done with AI over the last year or two. Every email, every document, every time you've used it to think through something. How much of it has actually changed what's happening in classrooms? Not what's happening at your desk, not how much time you've saved, but what's actually happening for kids. If you're honest and say, probably not much, you're not alone. Most of the school leaders I work with are still trying to get their head around this tech for themselves. And in this episode, I want to talk about the three phases that I'm seeing school leaders move through, where most people are sitting right now, and what phase 3 actually looks like when it's working. Welcome to Trailblazing Schools, the podcast for educational leaders at the intersection of leadership, complexity, and intelligent technology. I'm Trudy Graham. This is a space for leaders navigating uncharted territory. We explore strategic leadership, ethical innovation, and how AI can strengthen the deeply human work of education. I've been watching this play out in schools, and I heard an example again last week, and I'll share that later in the episode. When I work with school leaders and teachers within my AI workshops, whether I'm online or in the room in person, I notice a pattern. If you've been in one of my workshops, I usually get educators talking about how they use AI. Side note, it's an excellent way for us to learn from each other and discover how else we might use this technology. It's a great conversation starter for leadership teams, for staff meetings, and professional learning communities. So here's what I notice. Phase 1 is all about productivity. You use it to get through the things that were eating up time in your week. So often people start with emails, and it's about getting the AI to draft the difficult emails so that they've got the right tone, and it does it in seconds rather than you labouring over it for an hour. Or it might be writing the newsletter, and they use the AI to get it done in 20 minutes rather than 2 hours, right? Or it could be about writing a school policy or procedure that you've been meaning to get to for 2 years, and you finally got it done. And it's an obvious and the easiest place to start. And I see it over and over again. And why wouldn't you? Like, getting your Sunday afternoons back matter, right? And I love this for educators. But then they move to phase 2, and phase 2 is where something shifts. You'll stop using AI just to produce things, and you'll start using it to help you think. I've seen people consult it for clarity on policy to inform their decision making. It's a great tool when you need to have a difficult conversation, and you can get the AI to rehearse it with you first and to give you some tips, a bit like a leadership coach. Or perhaps you've written something and then you ask the AI to find the holes, to evaluate, and to give you feedback on what you've written, like an editor or a critical friend. And phase 2 doesn't just save you time, as much as we love that. It actually lifts the cognitive load and it sharpens your judgment and decision making. But the interesting about phase 1, productivity, and phase 2, AI as a thinking partner, is they have one thing in common. They're all about you. It's what you did with the AI alone at your desk on your own work. And you can be excellent at both of those. And the only person in your school that it's changed is you. And I want to highlight that this is the progression that I'm observing for school leaders. But there's a third phase, and what I'm noticing, particularly in the last month, is how it's emerging. So last week, Rebecca Reid, she's a small school principal from Ridgelands in central Queensland. She was sharing an example from her upper school teacher that had a wildlife sanctuary visit the school. It was an incursion, bringing the experience to the students rather than taking the students out on an excursion. And the obvious link to the curriculum was using this as a basis for information reports in English. And Rebecca shared that within a day, the Year 3 to 6 teacher, who, yes, is responsible for Year 3, Year 4, Year 5 and Year 6, had generated exemplars matching the requirements of each of those year levels at their achievement standards. And she'd based it on the animals that the students had seen and experienced in the school with the incursion. Those exemplars showed the students what they needed to do to be successful at their level, tailored to the year level and to their learning needs. And that level of tailored planning and differentiation for each year level is what we all know is expected. Best practice, if you like. Yet it's not happening consistently because of the cognitive load and the time required to execute on that for every year level. It's prohibitive. So let me make the point that AI has not replaced this teacher's professional judgment. It's scaffolded the work in a way that made the professional judgment faster, sharper, more efficient, and far more effective. And the difference here in phase 3 is what is happening for the kids, for the students, getting an example information report that actually reflected their year level requirements on animals they had first-hand experience with during the incursion within 24 hours. Across this podcast, you'll hear leaders navigating complexity with courage and clarity. If you'd like to see how that looks in practice, visit trailblazingschools.com/field notes. These field notes capture real stories from school leaders using AI as a thinking partner, strengthening leadership, not replacing it. It's free, practical, and designed to prompt your own next step. You'll find it at trailblazingschools.com/field notes. And it doesn't surprise me that I'm seeing this shift in small schools first. It's where innovation is second nature, but it's rarely acknowledged or celebrated. They say necessity is the mother of invention, right? And small schools, they have multiple year levels, diverse learning needs, limited resources, and limited access to expert staff. But they have fewer layers of leadership and bureaucracy, much stronger relationships between staff and students, and an ability to be flexible and responsive. You'll also notice, if you go back and listen to my interview with Yvonne Watt, principal from Glen Applin, also a small school, that she has multiple examples as well. And the one that stood out for me was their work on generating texts for students based on their interests and written at a level that meets the needs and the very next steps for learners on their reading improvement. And the commonality between Rebecca and Yvonne's examples is that they are both reporting an increase in student engagement. And if you ask me, that's the precursor for improved academic outcomes. So phase 3 has a name, Learning Multiplier. And when AI stops improving your work and starts improving the learning across your school, it'll support data analysis, curriculum planning, assessment design, differentiating for the students who need it most. That's the phase that finally reaches students, and it's the one most leaders haven't fully crossed into yet. Small schools are where it's happening first, and it's not a coincidence. Like I said earlier, less layers between the principal and the classroom, and honestly, often the principal is the classroom teacher. And it's born because of the complexity that they face, their locality, their limited resources. And when you don't have a curriculum coordinator, a deputy, and 3 team leads, you have faster ways to make changes at the classroom level. Small schools aren't behind. They're showing the rest of the system what phase 3 looks like. But here's the thing about phase 3. You can't do it alone. A principal can't be a learning multiplier solo. The impact lives in classrooms, and that only happens when your teachers are using AI well and consistently. When your leadership team is pulling in the same direction, when someone is holding all of it to a professional standard. And I want to highlight, it's not about the technology. This is about leadership, culture, and navigating change within complex systems. Which is exactly why the small school model doesn't just transfer directly to a medium or large school. The conditions that make it work in a small school, proximity, necessity, fewer layers, those don't exist in the same way when you have 40 staff and 3 leadership tiers. Building phase 3 consistently with depth across a bigger school is a different challenge, and it needs a different kind of structure. That structure is what Trailblazing Schools is built to provide. I've been working with a cohort of schools, small schools among them, to build exactly this. It's not just AI training, and it's not a standalone professional development day. This is a whole school program that builds the conditions for phase 3 to take root and to stay. So that when Rebecca and Yvonne's story plays out in your school, it's not a one-off, it's a new normal. So my question for you, where are you sitting in the 3 phases right now? Is it a productivity hack that's saving you time? Is it a thinking partner that's helping you think better? Or is AI changing things for kids? And I want to give you a practical next step to move this forward for you. I want you to pick one thing your teachers are currently doing that's cognitively expensive and time-consuming. Something where the barrier isn't knowledge or skill, it's just the sheer load of doing it well for every student that's holding them back. And ask yourself, could AI scaffold that? Could it give teachers a faster path to the professional practice they're already capable of? And then try it. Not as a whole school initiative, not about writing a policy. Just try a small, low-risk experiment. Try it with one teacher or one task and see what happens and what does phase 3 feel like. And if we go back to where I started, how much of what you've done with AI has actually changed what's happening in the classroom? And if the honest answer is not much yet, that's okay. Most leaders are in phase 1 or 2, and that's a legitimate place to be. But phase 3 is real. Rebecca and Yvonne are legit, and their examples are real and happening now. Small schools are already showing us what it looks like. The question is whether you want to get there on your own or whether you want a structure around you to make it happen consistently and with depth. If it's the latter, Trailblazing Schools might be exactly what you're looking for. You'll find the link in the show notes. Thanks for being here and take care. You've been listening to Trailblazing Schools with me, Trudy Graham. If this episode brought someone to mind, share it with them. You'll find further reflections, practical resources and leadership tools in the show notes. Until next time, lead with courage, seek clarity and keep trailblazing.